You have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. In a heated congressional hearing, Jasmine Crockett sharply confronted Kristi Noem, accusing her department of overseeing more deaths in immigration detention than any previous administration. Crockett pressed Noem with pointed questions about the conditions inside federal detention facilities, arguing that the number of fatalities raised serious concerns about oversight, accountability, and the treatment of detainees. The exchange quickly became one of the most tense moments of the hearing, with Crockett repeatedly challenging Noem's record and demanding clearer answers about what steps the department was taking to prevent further deaths. The confrontation underscored the deep political divide over immigration enforcement and detention policies, turning the hearing into a dramatic clash that drew widespread attention from lawmakers, media, and the public. Sagittacted more widespread.
November 27, 2025, UC request. Officials criticized Biden vetting, but Afghan shooting suspect was granted asylum under Trump. And then September 29, 2025, Courthouse News, states sue DHS again over cuts to anti-terrorism grants for blue states.
Without objection, the gentlelady from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. And Madam Secretary, you are almost to the end, so congratulations. I just have a couple of questions. Are you aware that the law that was written by this Congress makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to, entitled to enter any detention?
Representative Crockett, I apologize. I have to run to vote in another committee, Secretary, and Mr. Schmidt will chair, and you will get extra 15 seconds, but I apologize for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Are you aware that the law makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to enter any detention facility at any point in time in which they choose to?
Yes, I'm aware of the visitation and oversight responsibility, and we work every day to try to accommodate members of Congress while taking into account the safety of those individuals that are being detained there.
At any time, correct?
Yes, I understand there's litigation in this area.
No, that's not my question. I'm not asking you about litigation.
No.
I'm asking you what the law is, because let me put it to you this way.
There's an appropriations rider that talks about
correct,
oversight.
and appropriations are law, because you are asking us to appropriate dollars right now for DHS, correct?
Correct.
And if we do that, you would take that as law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that is what the law states, yet somehow, myself and another colleague, Congressman Castro, we ended up giving a 7-day notice to the Dilley detention facility because I had actually already gone to El Paso before. And when I went to that facility and I asked them why it was that they were requiring me to do something that specifically my branch of government had dictated was not required, they said it was because of you. They said you were the one that said that they were not allowed to allow us entry unless we gave a 7 days heads up. Is that true?
Yeah. The law specifically states oversight and visitations, and we are working to facilitate those, and we're at that time working to.
Did you give the instruction that members must give a 7 days heads up or not?
We had a policy in place that allowed us to get.
Were you the one that ordered that policy?
I have a responsibility for ensuring everybody in that facility is going to be safe, and that I have adequate
no, but that's not my question, because the problem, let me tell you why we need to, reclaiming my time. The reason that I'm talking to you about this policy and you're talking to me about safety is because I did go into the Dilley detention facility. And let me tell you, they're not safe. This is why we need to conduct oversight, because your people continue. In fact, you have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. So I don't expect that y'all are going to be the ones that are going to be best to keep them safe. This is why we are supposed to conduct oversight and not wait for you to give permission. In fact, after I left the Dilley facility, we were informed of a measles outbreak that was taking place in that facility. And another question I have, are you the one that ordered it to be reopened, because that facility was closed under Joe Biden?
Those facilities were opened with the new administration. I'd have to look and see.
You're part of the new administration. Were you the one that ordered it to be open is my question.
I would have to see when it was opened, because I wasn't sworn in until 5 days after.
Okay, well, it was reopened in March.
I would have to look at
it was reopened in March of last year.
Well, then I'm sure that contract would have been renewed while I was secretary.
Speaking of contracts, as I have actually, you know what, let me continue on this line of y'all breaking the law. Are you familiar with a child by the name of Liam Ramos?
I am.
All right, so Liam was at this Dilley facility, and it just so happened that we had put in our 7 days notice, and y'all had grabbed him 6 days prior to our visit. So we were able to go and visit Liam. Are you aware of the court order that came down that released Liam from custody?
I am.
And are you aware that the judge said the case has its genesis in an ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children? This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders them deported, but do so by proper legal procedures. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and I would disagree with the judge on several
I'm
points
sure you would, but can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
Father chose to.
Can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
If I have what?
A law degree.
No, I do not have a law
Okay,
degree.
and you do understand, because I can go through a bunch of court cases and orders that I disagree with from the Supreme Court, that ultimately, that is the order of the court. That is what you follow, and if you have an issue, you appeal it up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The court went on to say, apparent also is the government's ignorance of an American historical document called the Declaration of Independence. 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson enumerated grievances against a would-be authoritarian king over his nascent nation. Among others were, he has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. He has kept us among, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. Are you aware that he wrote that? Do you know that he was writing about ICE that falls under you?
The judge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With that, I will yield, but I do have two UCs. The first UC is ICE training with slashed records show corroborating whistleblower claims from the Washington Post on yesterday.
Without objection.
The second one is FEMA's response to Texas flood slowed by Noem's cost controls. This is out of CNN from July 10th of 2025.
Without objection.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to close it unless, what do you think? Okay. I would ask unanimous consent to put in the record a document from DHS.gov titled Illegal Alien with More Than 30 Prior Arrests Fatally Stabs Woman at Virginia Bus Stop. ICE requests Virginia authorities not release this public safety threat.
Attention from lawmakers. During the hearing, the chair recognized the gentle lady from Texas for 5 minutes, and Representative Jasmine Crockett began questioning Kristi Noem. Crockett asked whether the secretary was aware that federal law allows members of Congress to enter immigration detention facilities at any time to conduct oversight. Noem acknowledged that members of Congress have visitation and oversight authority, and said the department attempts to accommodate those visits while also considering safety inside the facilities. Crockett pushed back, clarifying that her question was about the law itself, noting that appropriations language passed by Congress clearly establishes this right. She then explained that she and Congressman Castro had attempted to visit the Dilley detention facility, but were told they had to provide 7 days' notice. According to Crockett, when she asked facility staff why they were imposing a requirement that Congress had not authorized, they told her the directive came from the secretary. Noem responded that the department had implemented a policy to help coordinate visits and ensure safety. Crockett, reclaiming her time, argued that oversight is necessary precisely because conditions inside the facilities raise serious concerns. She pointed out that several deaths had occurred in detention facilities and said that this was exactly why members of Congress must be able to conduct independent inspections without waiting for permission from the department. Crockett also stated that after her visit to the Dilley facility, officials learned about a measles outbreak there, which she said further highlighted the importance of oversight. The questioning then turned to the reopening of the Dilley facility. Crockett asked whether Noem had ordered the facility to reopen after it had previously been closed during the prior administration. Noem said the facility was reopened under the new administration, but noted that she had been sworn in only a few days after the reopening and would need to review the timeline to confirm her role. Crockett continued by raising the case of a child named Liam Ramos who had been detained at the facility. She said the child had been removed shortly before lawmakers arrived to inspect the site, but that members of Congress were still able to review the case. Crockett referenced a federal court order that ultimately required the child's release and quoted language from the judge criticizing how the case had been handled, including concerns about deportation quotas and the treatment of children in detention. When Noem said she disagreed with parts of the judge's reasoning, Crockett asked whether the secretary had a law degree. Noem replied that she did not. Crockett then noted that regardless of disagreement, court rulings must be followed unless they are successfully appealed through the legal system. Crockett went on to read additional language from the ruling that referenced principles from the Declaration of Independence and historical concerns about abuses of power. She asked whether Noem was aware of those references and their comparison to modern immigration enforcement actions. As her time expired, Crockett yielded while also submitting several documents into the congressional record, including reports related to ICE training practices and FEMA response decisions.